Hello, everyone, and welcome to episode number 4 of the Stay Strong podcast. It's crazy. It's already episode number 4. I had to really sit down and think about it just for a minute. I hope you guys are enjoying these as much as I've been enjoying them. And if this is your first episode, welcome. Welcome to the Stay Strong podcast. This episode, I'm talking with someone who's really just become a friend of mine over the past, maybe a year and a half, 2 years. But I really think a lot of this young man, I call him a young man. It's not like I'm that much older. I'm not that old, guys. So I'm only 32, at least right now. But I do have a lot of grays. So I look older, I guess. Regardless, this podcast is with a man by the name of George Reynolds. And this guy just really gets me fired up. He's super young. He's super motivated. He's out getting after it. He's got an entrepreneur mindset, and just is putting in the work, man. I mean, one thing that I think we hear a lot in whether it's the media or whether it's social media, in regard to millennials and their work ethic. And, I'm not here to argue for or against that. But this is one guy that is showing that even though you were born in that millennial time span, I believe George is still considered a millennial. Don't hold this against me, George, if you're not. I get confused by these things. But regardless, for his age, for him to have the work ethic he does, it's pretty awesome. And I know it gets me fired up to work that much harder on the things that I've got on my plate. So I hope you enjoy this episode 4 of the Stay Strong podcast with George Reynolds. George, you're live, baby.
How you doing?
Man, I'm doing great. How are you doing?
I'm doing great, actually. Really, really.
Are you
good.
nervous?
Little bit, but
I could tell.
A little bit, but I'm good. I'm good.
So this is what I think is going to be fun about this podcast is because I don't know that much about you.
Yo, you really don't. You just know me from lifting.
I know. I know. I don't know nothing. It might end up terribly uninteresting.
No, it's not.
See, there it is. There it is.
No, it was.
Now I always like to think about. So I feel like the first time we met was at the Iron City Classic, wasn't it?
Yeah, when I got hurt.
Yeah.
That's when I got hurt.
You were playing catch with a barbell. That was crazy.
Yeah.
Well, and I remember I feel like
we met a little bit before that.
Did we?
Somewhat, because
were you training at the gym?
I trained up there a couple times. Me and Maria did, because remember we did it together, the meet together.
See, I couldn't remember.
We shook hands, and you said something like, I just remember you said something along the lines like, you're strong, or like I heard about you, something that way. That's what we did, but that was at the meet before it started.
Well, and listen, that might be total BS. Like I might have just been trying to make you feel good. But no, seriously, because I remember thinking, man, I like this guy. I
appreciate it.
It might just be because it's like anyone that can hang out with Eric Landon, like
Yeah.
they've got to have a strong will and
They're a
continence.
different breed.
That's for sure. That's for sure. So let's start first with, obviously, I got this sweet shirt, Savage Bodies. So this is your jam. Mm-hmm. This is your thing. Mm-hmm. So what is it?
Well, I wanted to start my own training, training company.
So by training, you mean like personal training?
Personal training in 2016. So it was my sophomore year. And
so that's when you first the
thought.
Yeah.
The thought came. Well, that's when it released. I actually started on it, early 2016, and then later 2016, that's when I actually started releasing stuff in the Instagram and having body reposts and stuff like that. That's what I did with that. But it's a personal training brand that I've started. And actually, people don't know, it was actually 2 people that started it.
Really?
2 people that started it. It was my idea.
Now listen, I don't want someone coming after you now.
No.
You know what? Copyright
No, listen. So it was my best friend. We played football, basketball, ran track, whatever together in high school. And I texted him one day and I said, hey, what would you like? Would you like to start like your own like training people? Because we always worked out more than we supposed to practice.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so he was like, you know what? Let's do it. So long story short with that, still my best friend.
That's good.
Still my best friend. He just was like, you know what? This just seemed like more of your thing. He just was like, you're more passionate. You're like doing really good with this. And he was like, just you take it.
Yeah.
You go do it. And he was like, this is your calling. And I was like, you know what?
That's cool.
Perfect.
Because not everybody's like that,
No, I thought that at first it was going to be like, no,
Did you get that in writing?
Yeah, I get that right. Yeah.
But no, I mean, so like, I feel like when I first heard about you, this was part of what I heard about, was, the Savage Bodies line. Now listen, I got one issue with this shirt, is I feel like this shirt should be tailored to make my arms look bigger. But I feel like it makes my arms look smaller.
You should have got a smaller size.
Dude, I can't do that, man. Like I got a long midsection. And if I go large or extra medium, it's like belly shirt. It's like nonstop. Like if I'm not gonna tuck this mug in, it's gonna be all bad. You just released like your official release.
The official, because everything I had from back then, I had shirts, and I'll just come out because like money was low.
Oh yeah,
like money was low.
Well, you were in college.
Yeah, I just graduated, so I was still in college, and the only money that I was using was from the gym, and that's like $200, every 2 weeks, $300.
Yeah.
That's nothing. See, because the first 2 years, I didn't charge anybody.
Really?
I didn't charge no one the first 2 years because I just was trying to get my feet wet. And then I was trying to learn so much. And I did. So I'm glad I did that because most people, like around here, they just like, I don't want to pay or something like that. So I'm like, you know what? I'll deal with that.
Well, and it's the cool thing about personal training is like, I mean, obviously there's the financial part of it, but it's nice just doing something where like what I'm doing today with this person is helping them, And I know for myself, like I've worked with people, even 2-3 years ago where like they would come in the gym and you just knew like this is someone that like they know they need to get healthy, like they know they need to change their life, but they have no idea. They're like, all right, let's go start. I'm going to just go around the treadmill for 20 minutes. I'm going to bounce.
At least they're there. That's the biggest
Heck
thing.
yes.
That's the biggest motivation, just getting in the gym.
Heck yes, man. So and I noticed like what I thought was cool is like when you like did the official release, like you did legit like model photos. Now one of them models I recognize. No, I thought it was great. So if you don't know what I'm talking about, George was one of his own models. He's a humble man. So whose decision was that?
Do the photo shoot?
Yeah.
It was my decision.
No. For you to do the photo shoot.
Of course I was going to jump in the photo shoot.
You
Come
got
on,
to,
man.
It's your brand.
I had to jump in the photo shoot. But see, the big thing about it is I didn't want to be like too much of the face of it. Because no one wants to always see my face. That's truly how I look at it.
Yeah.
So like I just was like, you know what? I want to get people to do it, and I'm just going to sit back on the side and just hop in here and there and everything like that. And it worked out perfectly because when we were doing the photo shoot, it was a lot of problems coming into play. The shirts were wrinkled. So I'm sitting over there. I'm trying to record because I wanted a behind the scenes video.
Yeah.
So I'm doing that, and my friend's helping me do it also. He was barely anything because me and him he was helping me out. And he's supposed to be in a lot more photos, and he was only in a couple. See, a lot of people just think like it was just I was the only guy that was in there. No, Tyler was in like 2 photos probably.
Yeah.
But we were I don't know what they call it. What was it? Steaming the shirts. We were steaming the shirts like the whole entire time. Dang. Yeah, and he was having a camera. I had the steamer, and we were like switching back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. So that's what we're doing, and it worked out.
Dude, I mean, here it is. And I'll tell you, man, I feel like, I know it's just the start, but I feel like it feels like there's a lot of momentum already out the gate, And like even you and I were talking before we started rolling, like, even just the shirt orders you've gotten so far. And I know that there's more to it, but my thing is like, for those of you all that are just listening and don't know George, and maybe this is your first episode. So we're in Southern Ohio. Like we're in a little tiny town, Rio Grande, Ohio. But I know one thing, you're not from here.
Nope.
So are you from Chicago?
Yes.
That's what I thought.
I'm from Chicago.
Where are you at from? Like, where from in Chicago?
See, it's so hard to explain. So especially for somebody that never like been or
I've been to Chicago.
Well, it's too big to try to explain.
I see what you're saying.
You see what I mean?
I'm from Southern Ohio, and you're just trying to.
So every time someone says, I just be like, just the suburbs. I always tell them. I just be like, just the suburbs.
Not the city.
Yeah, because then if I say a street, if I say this or a city, they say, Oh, well, where is that? Where I don't know. Like, I know where I live. That's all that matters.
You ain't gonna get it.
No, you're not gonna get
So are you born and raised from Chicago?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
So that's cool. So talk to me a little about like your upbringing. Like, did you have any siblings, things like that?
I have. It's 5 of us.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
So you guys got like a medium big family.
We got a big family.
Yeah.
It's. I have 4 sisters, and I'm the youngest.
Oh, you're the baby.
I'm the baby.
Dude, that explains a lot.
See, I hate saying that because
we
see, and my mom, she raised us by herself.
Really?
Yeah, she was.
Wow, man.
She raised us by
respect.
herself.
I tell people all the time, like single parents. Like, so I've got 3 kids. Well, I got one that's in the oven that'll be here in like a month. So, but I count him. So, but like raising kids as a couple is tough. Like single parents, I'm like, man, I have crazy mad respect because that's it. Like. So your mom raised all 5 of you solo.
She did it by herself.
Wow.
And well, a lot of people don't know this. Like, I had a really, really rough, like, upbringing. Like, real rough. Like, we stayed in motels at times. Hotels, not motels. Hotels at times. And when I was younger, but I'm, like, I was too young to like know what was going on. Like my mom would tell me stories at the shelter and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And she'd just be like, "You're not gonna be around my kids," like and stuff like, "You're not gonna be around my kids" and stuff like that. But it was real. It was rough. But we got through it and just graduated. And if it wasn't for her, then we wouldn't even be sitting here talking.
Wow, man.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So, like at the time going through that as a kid, like did you just feel like, hey, this is just normal? Or did you know, like, this isn't, like, normal for every kid's upbringing?
You know what? I really don't know. I really don't know. I just felt like it was the way it was. But she made it always seem like everything was okay.
Yeah.
She always made it seem like it was okay. Even though it looked like it wasn't, but she always was so calm and collective. Like calm and collective. Like I'm someone who's big on like breakfast. I love having breakfast in the morning.
You're talking about language.
Yeah. And she will always make sure that I had breakfast.
Wow.
No matter what. Like if we staying in the hotel and we got air mattress in there also, my breakfast is sitting up there when I wake up.
Cool.
Even though if you got to take a cab in the morning or something like that, she always made sure it was done and everything like that. So she just made sure that everything was fine. And I got a lot of my drive, I feel like, from her. Like my drive to, like when stuff goes wrong with this, because a lot did go wrong with this, made it seem like, okay, well, it's fine. We're going to just deal with it. We're just going to keep it pushing.
Yeah.
And she got me that way. So I think if it wasn't for that, then I wouldn't be who I am today.
Yeah. Dude, that's huge, man, because that's, that's not an easy thing to go through. So were you in that same situation once you got into high school, as far as kind of bouncing around? So you guys had kind of settled in somewhere.
We moved decent amount, but once we finally got to high school, we stayed. We were fine. I'm not saying fine. Did you guys
work?
Oh, and that's the thing. Like the only person that worked was 2 of my sisters. Then my other sister, she got a job also with my other sister, but she wasn't a big fan of you go work, because she wasn't like that. She was, you focus on what you got to do in front of you. I focus on this. I got this. Yeah, she was a different breed.
Yeah, man. That's serious. So I mean, I'd imagine she worked a lot, didn't she? Yeah,
she worked a lot.
One job, 2 jobs.
One job. When I was younger, I believe she worked 2. I believe, but I was younger, so I don't know. I just remember sometimes we'll go walk to meet her because she's walking back from work or something like that. So that's the only time I could really remember. But she worked a lot, a lot.
No, well, it's like you said. I mean, as a kid, that puts a big imprint. And it's weird too how sometimes you'll see your parents do something when you're young, and you don't put 2 and 2 together what's going on. But even as you get older, then you start to look back, and it's like, things are starting to make sense.
Now I'm starting to see what's going on.
Yeah.
Now I'm starting to see what
and
these
it's
things
weird
happen.
how you can reflect back on that and like have a lot more respect. Not that you don't respect your parents, but like you understand. And Sometimes too, I think once we as adults make some of our own mistakes, and I know, people have had parents that have done all kinds of things, both good and bad. But also, I want to be careful making the statement because I'm not saying that, like, there's terrible things people have done to their kids.
Yeah.
But also at the same time, you can look back and see some of your parents' mistakes and realize, like, it's okay because, like, it makes sense because then you've made some of your own mistakes. You know what I'm
exactly.
saying?
Yeah,
And
we did.
I'll tell you what's weird is later on, like, since I've had kids, it's weird looking at other people that are parents and being like, bro, you're a parent.
I can't.
Like, it sounds so weird, but it's like, you're someone's dad. It's weird. Don't worry about that.
No. I know what you mean. One day. I did exactly.
So high school, were you in, like, it sounds like just all kinds of athletics?
Well, I wanted to see, I'm not when it comes to school, I'm not the brightest. I don't like sitting in the classroom. I just feel like it's all pointless at the end of the day. But so like my grades wasn't that good. So I used basketball. So I used basketball, and I'm like, okay, if I'm decently enough, I can go somewhere.
So that was like, at what point in high school, like, was that your thinking? Like, not just because you love basketball, but like you're saying, like, as a kid, you were thinking if I could do good.
Not as a kid. Okay. So like 6th grade, that's when I played for the team back then I played my 7th and my 8th grade, and then I was like, you know what, I could play in high school, I'm pretty good. So I went and I played in high school, but also when I played in high school, I ran track and I played football, but I only played football my senior year.
Yeah,
I only played football my senior year.
Kind of that type of thing. I didn't play football. I just want to get
throw it in there. I just wanted to throw it in there and say I played football.
Yeah, exactly.
So yeah, I did that. And when I played basketball, I started realizing, like, all right, I'm all right at this. I'm all right at this. And then my freshman year, I was good. Sophomore year, I got better, but I ran into an issue because then my grades started. And I'm like, oh man, like, I don't know if I'm gonna be able to really even pull this off. So then I got them together. Junior year, playing varsity and stuff like that. And then senior year, I'm captain.
Wow.
Yeah, I'm captain at this point. So we're not that good, but we're still playing. I'm still doing all right and everything like that. And I transferred over actually to play. I ran track, and because my dean of students was my track coach. He was the track coach. He said, you should just try running track in the spring. So I did, and I was actually good at it.
Yeah.
Like, I was actually really good at it. So I was like, you know what? Maybe it's, maybe I could go either way with this. And I was like, no, I don't like the running part. I was like, yeah, I don't like it.
I feel you there.
Yeah,
man.
so basketball, that's what I did. And then I got a scholarship to go here. And I just filled it in like a survey, like a little questionnaire, because I was like, my grades aren't good, so let me just pull it in.
Yeah.
And I actually got a call like at the end of the summer, and he was like, you know what? Hey, George. He had a real deep voice, and he was McKnight. His name was Phil McKnight, and he said, hey, how'd you like to come play? How'd you like to play Ohio? And I was like, where's that, in Ohio? He was like, yeah. And I was like, oh, okay, yeah. So, like, I put it to the side. He called again. Yeah, this gets deeper too. Like, he calls again. I'm like, okay. I tell my mom about it. She's like, well, I don't know, Junior. That's what she called me. She's like, I don't know, Junior, if we're gonna go all the way to Ohio and stuff like that.
I'm gonna say
that.
Julian. Prince Julian, baby.
And then after that, he called again 3 times, and I'm finally like, you know what, McKnight, I'm gonna come see you. Like, I'm gonna come see you. So we finally get here. My mom drives because she didn't trust my driving. I just got my license.
Yeah.
So she didn't trust my driving. She drove 8 hours in my sister's car. Wow. And that day, then she drove 8 hours back.
The same day?
The same day.
Holy, what time did you guys leave?
We left at night. Like,
so you
late
drove through the night.
Yeah, she drove through the night, and then we drove back during the day and stuff like that. But we stayed here for probably like an hour or two. Like, we didn't stay that long.
Really?
Mm-hmm. And that day when I came, I signed my papers.
So it was done.
Mm-hmm. I signed my papers. He just was like, here, I'm going to give you this, and this is what we're going to do. That's what he said.
Wow.
Yeah, and I was just like, you know what, okay, fine then. And I was like, that's a ticket anyway, so let me take it.
And did you think at any point, like, about basketball when it came to, like, college? Because was college, like, were you thinking I'm going to go to college, or were you thinking, you know what, I'm going to go do something else?
I wanted to go. I always knew I wanted to do something else and not just be like how everyone else wanted to be. I knew I was like different in that aspect, but like college was more because everyone else was doing it and it was the right thing to do. But I realized like that's not the way to do things. Like, because when we stand up at graduation, everybody was like, "Oh, this person got a scholarship. This person," and they were standing up. My whole class is standing up. I'm like one of the only people sitting down. Like I'm the only person sitting down, so I'm like, I need to go to college. Like I want to be somebody. I want to do this and that. And then when I got into college, I realized like you don't need to go to college to be somebody. You don't need a degree to be someone. Yeah. You can be someone without that, especially if you're creative. And I felt like that was one thing I really had I was a very, very creative person. And that's what I did.
Well, and that's like, I think that's important for people to hear, because there's a lot of people that either one, because I was the same way in school. I was like, dude, get me out of here. Unless it was like science class or maybe sometimes history class. Like otherwise I was like, oh, just forget it. Like math class, Mr. Spradlin, that was his name. Like Mr. Spradlin's class, I'll never forget, man. Like I would be in there. It was Algebra 1. I hated Algebra 1 so bad, when I went to college, I had to take it again. I took Algebra 1 a second time in college. And I had a buddy, we were in Algebra 1 together, and every single morning he would fall asleep in class. Like I'd look over and there'd be Drew, and he'd be out. And I'd lose it. And the teacher, sometimes he'd wake him up, sometimes it was like, that ain't worth the effort. That ain't worth the effort. And so, like, I get that. And I think, too, you know, it's powerful for people to hear that, like, just because you don't have a degree, that doesn't have to be a limiting factor, you know? And I think there's a lot of people that, I don't want to discourage anyone from going to school. Right. But, man, that can be a huge debt to undertake. And you better know, like, I just think about how many people go into school and they think they want to do this. They go into school, they do the classes, and they realize, man, I don't think it's what I want to do. And they've already racked up all this debt.
For 4 years or 3 years, and they're already in the program.
Oh, yeah, yeah. And that's, you know, I want to be careful, because I think college, like, there's a lot of benefit to it.
Oh, yeah.
But you gotta know. And I think, too, it can be kind of tough because, you know, parents get nervous when a kid says, all right, well, I want to take a year off. And, like, for one kid, that might be, I'm going to take a year. Like, I'm going to be off.
Right.
But then for other kids, it's like, I want to go work. Like, I want to go try some stuff out, you know, and see, like, is this some type of job I want to do? Is this the type of job I want to do?
That's what it's all about, though. It's about, like, trying different things to see what you're good at. Because you can't just sit there and say, well, some people, they get lucky and they find it.
Yeah.
They find it. Like, I feel like I got lucky. I got blessed to find, like, my niche. Like, I found it. But it took a long time to do it.
When do you feel like that was?
It happened here, but see, and you know, you're a religious person. God told me several times before then.
Really?
He told me. It was a girl and no, not like that. Not like that. Not like that. Where this is going. It was a girl in class. She was one of my friends. Her name was Lisa. And she told me one day, it was chemistry. And I got an F in chemistry, and that was
chemistry is when you take science and they say it's a science class, but it's really math class. That's what chemistry is. They trick you. It's like, oh, you're going to be playing with chemicals and everything, but it turns out it's basically math class.
And we were in class, and she said to me, George, I don't know what we're talking about, but she'd say, George, I feel like you would make a really good personal trainer.
Really?
That's what she told me. And I said, nah, I don't want to be no personal trainer. You got to sit there. You got to keep telling people. I was like, but I told her, I said, but if I did, it'd be, because guys, we have egos. So it's hard for us to like tell another man what to do. So I said, but if I was a personal trainer, it'd probably just be more women because they listen more to because they want to be better.
Oh, yeah.
Us guys, we don't think like that. You know what I mean? Women are different thinking. They're better thinking. In the gym. Oh, they're doing whatever it takes. And most of my clients are women. But so she tells me that, and I'm like, oh, okay. But it was a weird feeling I got from that when she told me that. And then later on.
What year were you in school at this point?
It happened in the same year I was a senior. I had to be a senior. I was a senior in high school. And I was like, no, I don't want to do that. That's what I told her. And then she's like, well, I think you'd be real good at it. And it was weird how she said it. And then we were in gym We was in PE, and my teacher, Miss Cabot or something, and I had my friend Brianna, and like it was funny because we had a joke. She was my best friend at the time. We had a joke, and like she always talked about how she was chubby and stuff. Like she was like, I can't be working out and stuff like that. And she was doing Russian twists. And what I did was I naturally I was like, come on, like, because we were about to go, and I picked her leg like this, but she was doing a Russian twist, and I did this, and I was just holding it to help her out. And Miss Cabot, she seen that. She came across the room, and she said, George, you ever thought about being, like a personal trainer?
And this is the same year.
Same year. And I was like, no. I was like, it's funny you say that, but no. And like, I just had a weird feeling about it. But looking back on it now, I was like, that was just God telling me, like, it was like a little preview.
Wow.
He was just like, listen to me, young man.
So you hadn't thought about anything like that up to that point?
I didn't think about that at all. I was trying to play basketball.
Yeah.
I was trying to play basketball.
And as far as like working out and things like that, you got into it just through athletics then?
I got more into it through athletics, and then like I knew that people would say like, well, if you work out now, you'll be a better athlete later on. So I was like, you know what? And then I started watching videos, and I'm like, oh, I could do this, I could do that. Then I started going to the gym. And then it was one summer, I just started going to the gym like the whole summer. That's all I love doing.
You were like, but I you know what? I want to be an athlete, but I want to be jacked.
Yeah, and I was like, I want to be like a house. Like, I wanted to be like a house.
That's the way you thought it, like I want to be a house.
Like, I wanted to be a big guy.
Yeah.
And like...
So were you skinny in school? See, that was me too. That's us skinny guys. It's like, man, and listen, if you were not born skinny, I totally understand. But if you are skinny, you know the feeling. Like it's like you think about like when you put a shirt on, you're like, oh, this shirt makes me look too skinny. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying. Or like
this felt like this because this is a large. Don't wear a medium.
It's going to be a front profile because if we do a side profile, I'm going to disappear. Right? Right? You want to hear something funny, man? My mom would get on to me because she's like, you need to work out, son. You're too skinny.
Ooh.
Like my mom, she's a funny type. So you got into it and through athletics, but then it's like you realize, man, I like working
See,
out.
because I'll say I'll go train. I'll say I'm about to go train, but I wouldn't really work on my skills as much. I would be more focused on the weights, and I'll do that last, the skills. And it's like, then eventually I'm like, I knew what I was doing, but I'm like, I really like working out. Like I really like doing it. I did that so much more. And then it really clicked. Like, this is what I want to do is when after my freshman year here, and I was like, you know what? I don't want to play basketball.
Really?
Yeah. And the thing about it is I stopped coming around, like around the team and stuff like that.
And that's freshman year.
That's my freshman year here. And that's a big, bold move because like they're going to send you back home.
Yeah.
So I was like, you know what? I got to figure out another way to stay here to still get this. Because at this point, I started to get more mature in the head and realizing that like the way I was brought up, I'm trying to beat the statistic at this point. I have to get a degree just to beat the statistic.
Wow.
That's the way I still look at it now. Like I have to get a degree to beat the statistic because then it creates a trend. And like one day maybe when I have a son they're like, oh, well, daddy did that. He's beating the statistic too.
Wow.
You see? So I'm starting to think that way. And that really, really helped me. But I was like, you know, I'm going to get away from basketball.
But you wanted to stay here.
But I wanted to stay here because for some reason I feel like this is the place to be. But I almost went home. Like I almost went home at one point because I was like, you know what? I ain't going to play basketball or whatever. But some kept telling me, no, you need to stay here. And then that one thing that kept telling me you need to stay here was McKnight. He's the one who, exactly. And he tells me to this day, he said, I feel like you need to be here. And one day he brought me in his office and he said, man, I feel like you need to be here because you mean a lot to me. And this is weird. I don't know this guy. Like, he's a big black guy. And he's talking about he's like, you know, you need to be here. And I'm like, okay. And he tells me that and we move on. And then I started like kind of helping out with the team a little bit. And he's like, you know what, we'll keep him around because he is helping out. And he gets in tears one day in front of the team. And he tells them, he said, this guy, he really means a lot to me. And I'm like, okay, he's talking about me. What does he mean? He says, I really wanted him to be here because my dad is from Chicago.
Wow.
He said, and he passed away. And you remind me of him.
Wow.
That's what he said.
That's deep, man.
Yeah. So, and I truly felt like I was like, that's why I really need to be here. That is big. And I think that was God's way, like, stay here.
Yeah. Do you feel like that type of conversation, that kind of revelation also got you thinking about like the same type of thing, like you said, like, you know, your background, where you come from, the statistics of, you know, where you come from and the things you've been through. And, you know, the majority of guys that have come from where you've come from, it just cycles, you know?
It does.
And so do you feel like that was part of where that light bulb went off, or have you always kind of thought about that?
Not say always thought about that, but it was early on when I thought about that, because I wanted to be different than my friends, and I wanted to be different than the people that I've seen and stuff like that. Sure. And I really wanted to make my mom happy, because she sacrificed so much. So it's like, she finally got you here to college. Why not finish? Like, why not finish? And I wound up finishing, but I get past there, and he's like, you know what? Well, I don't know if I can keep keeping you around, you know, George, and stuff like this. So I'm like, it's fine. He said, please apply for the resident assistant position. Like, please apply for it. So I applied for it, and I'm like, I guess. Got the job. And that pays for your room and board.
There you go. So part of it's taken care of.
Yes. And I'm out of state. So my fee is already.
It's way higher.
Way higher. And I did that, and he was like, I told you you'll get it. I told you you'll get it. And ever since then, I've been an RA. Every year I've been an RA. So it's been keeping me here. It's like, why would you leave? Like, why would you leave if someone's paying for that?
Yeah, yeah.
And I was a good fit for it, because, you know, you're pretty much just a leader of your floor. Yeah. Anything that goes on, you handle it. And I'm a leader, so I was like, you know what? I could do this. So
how do you feel like, because being an RA, like, you're having to deal with people's issues, like all kinds of goofy stuff.
Yeah.
So how do you feel like, because were you an RA all 4 years then?
I was an RA going into my sophomore year.
And so then all the last 3 years. So how do you feel like that experience impacted you? Because I feel like that's like, because did you have any kind of regular jobs? So no. So
I worked at McDonald's in high school for like 2 months.
Oh, dude, you got it. Listen, I think everyone, I'm getting on soapbox. I think everyone needs to work in some type of food service at some time. Because I'll tell you what, I guarantee that you never get rude with people in food services, do you?
No.
You ain't lying, right?
You know, I'm not lying. I'm not lying about that.
Because you've been there.
Because I've been there, because the thing about it is people don't realize is I learned 2 things. One, it's not the person's fault you're most likely talking to. It's not his or her fault. 2, I learned sometimes when you tell me your order, you actually didn't say what you think you said.
Oh, man. There's a lot in that right there.
And you don't think that sometimes. So it's like, it was this big guy, and I'm still small at the time. So like, I was a little scared. But like,
so you were working were you working
I worked the front. No, I worked the front.
Okay.
But I worked the drive-through like later on, because they thought I was going to stay.
I love fast food stories.
And this guy, he said something about, he wanted his cheeseburger made some way, but maybe it was lettuce. Let's just say lettuce. And he says, I said, I didn't want any lettuce. And I'm like, no, you didn't. You said you didn't want any onion. And he like gets mad and he's upset. And it's just like, first, one, it's not that deep, bro. we can handle it. We can handle it. We can take it off. We can go get you a whole new. It's a cheeseburger.
Yeah.
But then on top of it, it's like, you got to understand, you didn't say it. You didn't say it. And that's where the big problem is. People don't realize it's like, oh, I get this. No. Did you really say that, or did you think that?
Yeah. Listen, man, I feel you. Because let's be real. When you're rolling through Wendy's or McDonald's, and you're like, I'm going through the drive-through, whatever, like that, what you're thinking about with your food is probably not very high on your priority list. I mean, let's be real. Yeah, exactly. Your social media,
exactly.
You know, whatever it is. See, my first real job. So I say my first job where I paid taxes, because I did like odd and end jobs, was Burger King. And man, I'll tell you what, I look back at that job and there's stuff I learned from it. You know, like every single job or responsibility I've had, if I'm really honest, I learned stuff from it. So like the RA position, like going back to that, like, so you had a little taste of like customer service experience, but I feel like an RA position, like you said, it's a leader position. Like it's like a management, like a weird kind of management position, and all your employees are a bunch of like college kids that like
just got into college too.
Exactly. So like their hormones are crazy, and they're still kind of in high school land, but now they're in college, and they got more freedom.
Yeah.
So like, talk to me. Like, how did that impact you?
It made me be more aggressive for one. It made me be more aggressive.
Maybe you should clarify.
Because the thing about it is, I have to deal with all guys.
Yeah.
And it's only my sophomore year. So I'm like, I don't know them. They just came in. But they want to do anything they want to because they from home. They fresh from home. So it's times where and I've learned from that also, not just being more aggressive, but being more, I'm more comfortable with confrontation.
Yeah.
You know, I could come up and say, even though it's awkward, and because a lot of them, we had like a relationship, like friends, but like they knew the line. They knew the line, but they could come to me, come talk to me, girlfriend broke with them back at home or something like that. And with that, I just learned more of just telling them, just telling how I felt, you know, and I think that translated over to like training because it was just like, listen, you can't be doing this.
Yeah.
That ain't the way you do it, you know? And you can still be nice about it, but you could be blunt. It's a difference. People think you can just be blunt and you can just be blunt to somebody and be rude to them. That ain't the way you do it. And with them, they taught me how to talk to a lot of people. That's what they taught me the most. They made me get gray hairs, but they made me get gray hairs, but that's one thing that they really did teach me. Mm-hmm. And I'll never forget that. But all those guys, they still text me and they'll say, and that's 3 years ago. So they'll say, hey, happy birthday. They remember my birthday. They'll FaceTime me or something. They'll say, happy birthday. And I'll change my number all the time. I change my number all the time. And they'll get my new number and they'll say, hey, George, I'm just checking up on you. I'm doing good and stuff like that.
And
thanks.
That's awesome.
Yeah, they tell me, they say, thanks. That taught me something, the conversation we had. It taught me something or something like that. So, yeah.
If anyone's wondering what that big loud noise was, I just punched the microphone. So that's all that happened. No insane.
While I was talking.
Yeah, is actually probably the poignant point that you were making. To punch the microphone. I was like, maybe George will hear this. He'll just
like,
cut this.
What
down.
Is that?
Yeah, exactly. But no, well, and I think that's interesting because I think sometimes, like, if you're listening to this, like you're working just a job, you know, like McDonald's is just a job. Like, and don't get me wrong, like I know people that work in upper management now in fast food, and that can be a serious gig. But for most of you, like, you might have just a job that you're just working right now. But it's amazing if you'll take the opportunity, like you'll learn stuff that will carry on.
No matter if you don't like the job or not, you're going to learn something.
Heck yeah, man. And it's not just, I hate this job. Like you can learn more than that, you know?
Yeah. A lot of things you hate, you can learn from.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely.
You hate it for a reason.
Yeah, exactly. And you know what? Well, we're going to get deep. Sometimes I think you hate something. Don't get me wrong. Like, we all have our passions, things like that. But sometimes you can hate a job because there's parts of you that probably need to change and grow. Ooh, you know what I'm saying?
You speaking.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And that job, it doesn't mean that there's not, like, I'm not saying that there's not bad bosses out there. I'm not saying that there's not abusive employees or whatever it might be, or toxic work environments. But there's also a lot of times that, like, we can dislike a job just because it shines light on some of the weaknesses in our own life. You know what I'm saying?
Well, that goes back to the truth hurts. Mm-hmm. That's all it is. The truth hurts. It hurts, and that's what it is. It's another way of the truth coming at you. Like, you need to fix this about yourself.
Oh yeah. Mm-hmm. See, you think we just went the deep end of the pool, ladies and gentlemen. You better bust your swimmies out and make sure that the lifeguard's available. So let's talk about the Savage Bodies logo. Mm-hmm. Like, now, I believe this is Atlas, right? No? I totally dropped the ball. All right. I'm going to assume to know nothing. I'm going to be super ignorant. So talk to me. Like, where did this logo come from, the idea for it?
One, that piece is very special. It's real deep when you look at it. You can look it back.
Everything with you is deep.
Yeah. I don't know. That's just how it was. And when we took... Because at this point, it was still we. Mm. So, but I had my own.
So you guys came up with
We came up with that one.
Yeah.
See, but I have a notebook still. I should have brought it with me still of all the names that I had.
Really?
I still have it. It's in my drawer.
Tell me some of the worst ones. Tell me some of the worst ones.
I can't remember off my head. And I wouldn't say it on camera. But I have a whole notebook of all the names and all the so-called designs. Because I was going to come with the name. He was going to do design. And I was going to try kind of with the meaning. We was going to try to bring it together. But that meaning is, since the way that I grew up was hard, life is going to bring you down. It will. And that's why that's the earth on top of you and you're down on one knee. But if you're strong enough, you can get up and keep pushing.
Oh,
That's why the logo's that way.
that's killer.
And that's why he's built like that, because we're all strong enough to do it.
Yeah.
We just got to do it. That's the meaning behind the logo.
See, you answered my next question. I was going to ask, like, what the concept is behind it. But that, see, hearing that makes me like that much.
You want to get a shirt now? You want to get another shirt?
I got a shirt.
Well, you want to, you know what I mean?
Get me another one. Get me another one. But that's really cool. So that's where the whole concept of it came from then. That's very cool. So, like, what, and I don't want you to spill too many beans that you feel like you can't spill yet, but what's like your long-term vision for Savage Bodies?
I want it to be more, I want to have my own gym, obviously one day, but I want it to be more of a clothing brand. I want it to more to go lean towards that way, because that's, I mean, to be honest with you, that's what's hip. That lasts longer and everything like that. And I want to be able to go somewhere else and see someone wearing a Savage Body shirt. Not just, oh, we got apparel in the store and this in the gym in this section, like how most gyms do, or nothing. And I didn't want it to be something that's more like a gym, like no shots being fired or anything. Like I didn't want it to be like a Gymshark.
Yeah.
And I didn't want it to be like a Alpha Elite or anything like that. And obviously we have long ways to go, but I really wanted to be more of a clothing brand, but I wanted my clothing brand to be completely different than most, because what I wanted was, I wanted everything to fit for everyone. And I didn't want anyone to feel like they can't be welcome to it. Because I feel like a lot of companies, like, and I've talked to like women and guys, it's like, well, you got to be jacked to wear that, or you see a picture of somebody jacked and it's just like, no. That was the whole idea behind my photo shoot, that no one like could think about it. So like, because a lot of people actually say, why you choose so and so? All these people, why you choose them? It's just like, because they're normal. That's the point behind it. They're normal. You want to feel welcome when you look at this. You want to be like, oh yeah, I want to wear that. I could do that too. You want to feel love. You want to feel that, you know, when you're doing it. So it's just like, that's the vision that I wanted to go behind it. And not just, you got to be, I mean, just sad to say, like, you got to be really, really skinny, or you got to, like, that ain't the way, that's not legit fitness.
Yeah.
That's not fitness. I think we changed fitness. Well, I didn't. But the whole game is changing fitness big time. And they're making it look a bad way. They really are.
Yeah. Well, that's, you just threw a lot of
I'm sorry.
Well, because I think that's cool, because, like, your vision of this is bigger than the gym. You know what I'm saying? Like, I like it that, like, the Savage Bodies, it's not talking about, like, just your work ethic in the gym. It's talking about, like, your whole person. Like, you know, regardless of what your background is, regardless of where you come from, like, you know, the life, the earth that you have here is going to be weighing on you, but you got the strength. You just gotta do it, dude. I love that. See, that's the message you got to make sure you get out, because that's cool. Yeah, that's real cool. That's got me all fired up. You got me fired up, man.
And I want it to be different, because it says like savage. Like me and my friend, we used to like, we always like, we feel like we were savages in high school, like just a savage. So we're like, you know, let's go with savage. Like it got to be something just raw, you know, like cut, like savage. Just a different breed. It's a different animal. And then it's like, well, we're savage. That comes with the mind. Yeah. That comes with the mind right there. So we was like, you know what? Bodies. Yeah, we throw bodies in there. Savage bodies. That's what we throwing in there. And that's what we did. And we didn't want it to be the change it up and put the IES, and we was like, no, make it different. Put the Z at the end. Put the Z on the, like, don't make it different. Make it kind of cool. Put the Z there. So that's what we did.
No, listen, man, especially hearing the vision of it, like that to me, you know, it's like when I listen to music, I'll listen to a song a second time because I like the melody or I like the music, but I'll keep listening to it because I like the lyrics. Yep. You know what I'm saying? Like if a song doesn't have cool like lyrics that like really either the way that they say it or the message in it, then I'll be like, no, I'm good. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. And so like, I think like the initial design and even just, you know, the way that you market it, getting people interested is one thing. But then when they hear like I'm wearing this and this is what this means, like that makes it that much more powerful, you know? So this is the real question. I want to hear the most embarrassing story you have from you in the gym.
I don't know if I've embarrassed myself in the gym. I don't know if I embarrassed myself in the gym.
Just give me just a general, like, this is, when I think about this was, and when I say embarrassing, like, either embarrassing or funny. I find that my funniest stories are my most embarrassing stories.
The only things that happen to me is more.
You never pooped yourself
like,
in the gym?
Oh, see, okay, look.
I had to help you out.
So me and Maria used to train together all the time. And we did, I don't know, everyone has different names for them, but we did squats and you set it down and you explode up. So it's like on a pin. It's like, you know, like pin press kind of.
Yeah, so you're doing you're squatting
Anderson
down
squats. People call them Anderson squats. So I'm sitting there, it was like 353, and I just was done. We just deadlifted. We just benched. And we're over there. And it was these new people in the gym. Like I never seen them. It was here. It was last year. And, I love it already. Yeah. And I get under there, and I'm determined, and I got pride too. And I was like, you know what? I'm gonna push this. Like the first one, I was like, okay, well maybe I'm just having a bad ass. Like no, you gonna be a man. You gonna turn up and you gonna do it. So I was like, I got back under there. Maria was recording.
Oh, it's getting so good.
And it was only me, Maria, and like 3-4 of the new people in the gym, and it's quiet. And all you hear is me. You see the veins start popping out. Like you see it, and I'm like, and all you hear is, and you hear it, but I got it. Like it went up.
You got the rep.
Oh yeah, I got the rep, and I got two more after that. And Maria, the video messed up because she turned to them because I see them out the side. Look at me.
After you fart.
Oh my goodness! And I kept going, and she was like screaming. I wish I still had the video because the camera was shaking. That was the most embarrassing thing that happened to me. But
don't still have the video?
No. Well, I will never show it.
Oh, that's amazing.
Yeah.
Well, and you know, the big point of the State Strong podcast is, you know, the state of who you are, you know, mentally, physically, even spiritually as a person now, and like how the things that you've walked through have helped kind of define you and define the strength you have. And I feel like you spelled it out, and I feel like for you, George, like it's in your brand, you know, like the hard knocks life you were raised in, and really seeing like your mom like persevere with, you know, was it 5 of you? All 5 kids, like all the stuff that she went through, and really like, it sounds like create an environment where it was like, you know, listen, you don't have to work. You just take care of what you're focused on right now, and I'll take care of the rest, you know? And walking through that, and then getting an opportunity to come to Bodunk, you know, Southern Ohio, Rio Grande, but like it's helped define like you said, like you aren't afraid of hard times because you've been in them. You know, you've been in the trenches of hard times and have come out, and so know you can survive, and know when things go wrong, you know, it's not throwing the towel. And I think that's a powerful thing for people to hear. Because it's easy when things don't go the way you hope they did to just say, well, maybe this isn't what I'm supposed to be doing, you know? So very cool, man. Well, listen, I appreciate you sitting down with me. I think us sitting down again, like down the road, seeing how
tell you
things are
more of
going.
the stuff that went behind the scenes with that. I can't wait to tell you.
Yeah, I think that'd be good. We'll save a little.
We'll save it, huh?
And that way too, like we can let people know how things are going, and I'm sure there's going to be more products come out, things like that. So if people want to look you up on social media, where can they find you?
Instagram at Training Savage Bodies. That's the company.
With a Z.
No, it's it'll pop up as a Z, but it says it's at Training Savage Bodies.
And that's Instagram.
That's Instagram. That's on Facebook. It'll just be Savage Bodies with the Z. And that's all I'm on right now. And no, YouTube too, Training Savage Bodies also. I'm just starting that up. That'll be popping up, and I'm working on a project with someone documenting their weight loss,
That's
actually. And that'll be up on there, up and running soon, in probably about the next 3 weeks maybe. The first video will be launched. And then me personally is at George_is_hard work at Instagram. And you can find me on Facebook, just George Reynolds. So,
Cool. Well, listen, man, I appreciate it. It's been fun.
Thank you. I'm glad you had me.
Yeah, man. And that's a wrap, y'all. One thing I forgot to mention in the beginning of this episode is this was actually going to be the first episode with video also. And so we had set everything up in a classroom at Rio Grande to also videotape. And so I make mention of, I'm wearing one of George's brand shirts, and I'm talking about, if you can see, things are, the sleeves aren't quite as tight as I like them to be around my arms. And literally the only video I captured was at the end. I hit record. I missed hitting record at the beginning on the camera and hit record at the end. And literally all the camera caught was an empty desk with me saying, "Oh my gosh, I totally forgot to hit record." So regardless, still got the audio. Hope you all enjoyed it. Stick around, subscribe if you haven't already, share, get the word out if you all are enjoying it. This was episode 4 of the State Strong podcast. Until next time, thank you.